time for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
Do it live! Do it live! Do it live! Do it live!
That's right. Doing it live. Tommy Paul knocked off in the French. Playing the number 2 seed. Probably the best clay player in the world right now. In Alcaraz, the Carlos Alcaraz, the Spaniard. Would you agree with that, Mr. Tennis?
Oh,
Philip the Ref Pilkington? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he fought back in the third set. It ended up being 3 sets, didn't it? It ended up being
yeah. He lost the last set 6-4.
Yeah, I mean, he battled back, but just could not pull it off. So Greenville's Tommy Paul ousted. Pilk will have more on that, and more news at the break near the bottom of the hour. We got Wags on with us today. Jonathan Wagner from On3.com will talk the NCAA baseball tournament. Some ECU-related news. Lance Williams into the portal, who, of course, started the Sunday afternoon game against Florida and gave them a good start. Lance really came on near the end of the year, so that is, obviously you wish him the best of luck. That could be a little bit of something. Maybe they had an indication this was going to happen. I don't know. But Lance Williams into the portal, and he moves on, and that's just an arm you certainly have to replace. Someone that was someone kind of came on as the year went along and was a contributing factor for the Pirates. So, Pilk, any other names outside of the ones that have already been kind of reported that you're seeing? Lance Williams thing kind of came down this afternoon, but other than that, I think everybody so far is to be expected.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Ian White, didn't really see much action or any action after the UAB series. And
Right.
then everybody else is in the portal. Drew Downs hasn't officially entered, but he did leave the team. Was not with the team this weekend. But everybody
Correct.
else that is in the portal played maybe an inning or something, very beginning of the season,
Right.
or less.
Yeah. So yesterday we had Mike Mullis on. I thought Mully did a great job with what he presented to us, and we didn't jump in right away, but we did talk about the situation down in Florida with Kevin O'Sullivan. It didn't really plan to keep Mully for 2 segments, but again, we wanted to give the game its proper respect and the Pirate run its proper respect. But this was Mike Mullis from yesterday. You can also go back and re-engage that show, listen to it, or watch it on the IBX Media app. But here is Mike Mullis on that.
Kevin O'Sullivan came into the ballpark like a drunk, angry dad that's come home too late at night and is just looking to rage. He was willing to take on all comers, and there were a number of victims. He was, quite frankly, he was less than classy, actually classless. He demonstrated exactly who he is, in my opinion, as a person. He showed us where his values, morals, and ethics are, and it was an embarrassment to his university.
So this statement was released by the AD at Florida and head baseball coach at Florida, Kevin O'Sullivan, yesterday as we were leaving the airwaves. This afternoon, I met with Kevin O'Sullivan and told him that his actions prior to yesterday's NCAA tournament game fell well short of expectations of how Gators treat people. One of our department's core values is respect, and Coach O'Sullivan's unacceptable actions failed to demonstrate that. On behalf of Florida Athletics, I want to personally apologize to everyone impacted, including NCAA representatives, Coastal Carolina, their staff, East Carolina, and their team, as well as Gator Nation. That's Scott Strickland, the athletic director of Florida. O'Sullivan's statement: prior to yesterday's NCAA tournament game against East Carolina, I let my emotions get the best of me and channeled my energy in a way I should not have. I want to sincerely apologize for my actions and behavior to the entire NCAA regional field of Coastal Carolina, East Carolina, and Fairfield, the NCAA, including site representatives Rick French and Mark Scalf, as well as all of Gator Nation. I did not represent the University of Florida to the appropriate standard yesterday and take full responsibility for that, and promise to learn from this experience and be better moving forward. I appreciate all of the tireless efforts on behalf of host Coastal, their tournament director, Brian Stiles, and the NCAA over the course of the NCAA regionals. And I'm sorry for allowing this instance to get in the way of an otherwise great weekend of postseason baseball. All right, so those are the statements, Pilk. What do they sound like to you? How do you, obviously I've corresponded with a lot of people and some saying I'm not impressed with that. What about you, Pilk?
I think some PR intern named Haley typed it up, and they put their name at the bottom of it.
Hey, at least East Carolina was included by name in the AD statement,
Well,
and not Eastern Carolina.
True. So this Haley or Courtney or whatever, Abby, did her research and made sure she didn't call us Eastern Carolina.
Sure it wasn't Tanner or,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
No, the grammar in it was pretty good. It probably wasn't a guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Women are better writers than men.
I think, again, and I think Mully summed it up there. The guy was classless. Now, look, this will die down, obviously, but just a no-class situation. And, I guess the question would be, does the NCAA, because when we're talking about something being handed down, does the NCAA want there to be any sanctions for this behavior? I mean, if he had addressed an umpire like this before or after or during a game, the conference would have stepped in and suspended him, right?
Yeah.
If he had been in an SEC venue, name the venue, and had gone after the athletic staff of name brand SEC school, he'd have been suspended by the conference for a game or two, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I really think at this point the NCAA ought to step in and strongly consider leveling some kind of suspension. If Florida doesn't do that, and if Florida has done it, we've not seen. So to me, I think it would make sense to step in and lay down some kind of suspension.
I think
that's just my 2 cents.
I would say a suspension paired with some financial repercustions. Now,
A
obviously,
fine. Yeah.
they're not going to be. It's not going to be the level of NFL coaches because he doesn't
But
make.
Pilk,
as much as those guys.
I don't think the NCAA gets in the game of fines, do they?
They typically do not, but you got to think they can't find players because players don't make money yet. Wait till July 1st.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah, but when it comes to coaching, you're right. In the past, they've not, but I'm not opposed to it. I think that hurts more than a game because at the end of the day, suspending for the first series next year, what does that do? Well, they're probably going to play
North Florida.
School of the Deaf. Yeah.
Florida International.
Yeah. So, oh, man, we didn't have our manager. Sucks. Yeah, I don't think it's going to.
They could hurt suspend him for the first week. Then I mean, again, it's not going to make the opponents are not going to be. Maybe suspend him for the first SEC series. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, suspend him
the
against
conference
Arkansas or something. Vanderbilt.
Right. Make it hurt. Make it hurt a little. I agree with you there. The Lance Williams thing, Pilk, do you agree with my assessment there? Obviously, that hurts. He had a really a pair of really good starts near the end of the year. We'll see how things shake out. I think there's still a lot of momentum to build off towards as you head into the offseason and then inevitably next season.
Yeah, I think that one's a tough one to lose because he was already kind of a solid piece to this team. And like you said, he really came on there late at the end. And he was one of those guys that, you talk about with collegiate pitchers, they make that biggest jump from year 1 to year 2.
Sure.
Between year 2 and year 3, usually they just add another pitch. But you think of, what Ethan Norby did from year 1 to year 2. You think of Zach Root. You think of Trey Savage. And I'm not saying he was going to become, a first-round pick, but there was a lot of potential there. He's got pretty good stuff, good slider, obviously good fastball, and solid changeup. And so you think, hey, man, a full offseason with Austin Knight. Now they've seen him pitch. This could be a guy who could be one of your better bullpen arms or a midweek starter next year. And now all of a sudden, he's gone, which, hey, look, we knew we weren't going to keep every single guy that we wanted to keep. Let's just hope that this is the beginning and the middle and the end of the portal for guys that we desperately want to keep for next year. But with that being said, he is replaceable, and I don't mean that as a dog on him. Like I said, he's no Paul Skeens, right? So there's other guys like him. You just got to evaluate him. You got to go out there and find him, and then find a guy who fits into your program as well as fits talent on the mound.
A couple other notes, Pilk. Pull yourself up here so I can see you as we make these announcements, Mr. Pilkington. One baseball-related announcement, Parker Bird, who told his story on airwaves in Greenville on another station yesterday over cell phone and being held up to a microphone, I might add, which seemed like a really low-budge sort of move. But, Parker's a great human being, cool guy, a lot of fun to be around, got the gift of gab. Was chatting him up a lot when we were down in Tampa. He was outstanding. He will make his debut tonight for the Eatonton Steamers, and they take on his old team from last summer, New Bern. How about that? Philip the Ref Pilkington.
Maybe they'll bring a little rivalry to it, Guys go to a different team.
Might make it a little saucy.
Let's do it.
Make it a little saucy.
I'm for it.
That is the Old North State League, right?
Yep.
By the way, the Kinston team, I believe, folded in the Old North State League. I think they thought they were going to Granger Stadium. The wingmen.
Yeah.
Those wings were clipped. By the way, I was told this weekend, and I still would like us to organize a family trip, an IBX Media family trip to the game with the Bird Dogs. I'm told the level of baseball is actually much better than what was being played there when it was the old team, because that's A-ball now, and that's where a lot of people are still being weeded out. This is actually a higher quality and higher caliber of baseball. So hopefully we'll get a chance to do that.
I'll give you a report back Thursday. I think I'm going to go tomorrow night.
Are you really?
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Good. What is Wednesday night a specific night?
No, it just kind of worked.
Just I'm going?
Yeah. I was either going to – well, there was no game last night. I don't know. Just me and my roommate talked about it. We were going to go to a game, and we settled on Wednesday night. So.
A couple other things. Didn't mention this yesterday with everything going on, but our friend Brett Friedlander from Saturdays Down South has announced he's retiring from day-to-day coverage. Texted Brett on Friday congratulating him. He got back to me pretty quickly. Says he's still able to come on the show. He'll still be doing work. He just won't be in the day-to-day grind of where you're churning out content, #content. And I mean, Brett's covering the Division II World Series up in Cary this weekend. I mean, Brett's it's in his blood. He'll still be doing stuff. He says he'll come on with us. We like having Friedlander on. So, and look, great thing about Friedlander, never pulled any punches. So I expect him to pull even fewer punches now.
Yeah.
Not that he was pulling any before, but he ain't got to answer to anybody necessarily.
That is true. I'm happy for him because I'm glad he's still going to come on the show. But Brett's got 3 or 4 grandkids now, right?
I know he's got a couple.
Yeah,
he's got at least one.
Yeah, I know he's talked. I think he's at least used the S at the end. So I guess at least 2. So, and don't quote me on that. I could be wrong, but just talking to him. So I'm sure, he wants to spend a little more time with them and, maybe attend some more T-ball games and maybe a little less college athletics. Those T-ball games, they run a little shorter, Patrick, and a lot less traffic getting in and out of those games. So
and a little more vested interest and then happy birthday today to our guy Joey Football, celebrating a birthday today. How about that, Pilk?
Happy birthday to Joey Football. He has lost his NBA coach just a few days after the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, what do you think of that? Thibodeau fired by the Knicks. Is that surprising?
I thought it was. I guess we could call Nicky the Bull or Joey Football and get their take. But I was surprised. I mean, look, they knock off a really good Celtics team. I know they didn't have the performance they wanted in the Eastern Conference Finals, but I think he's done a good job turning that team around. He's turned some young guys into some stars that maybe weren't stars before they got to New York or started playing under him, and I thought he's done a good job. And I don't know if Malone maybe is who they have their eyes on after the Nuggets let him go, 2 weeks left in the season, but it's not like there's a bunch of huge names out there. So when you've got an established guy, he's been there for 5 years and done pretty well, it's a little head-scratching.
Thibodeau's not the easiest guy to play for, but it looked like he'd kind of found a fit in New York. I don't know. Just it seems like bizarre. There's got to be more
Marty
to
wasn't
it
the
than
easiest guy to play for either, but he won, so who cares?
It's true. All right, let's hit a break. When we come back, we'll talk the O'Sullivan deal and the NCAA field. Is the state of North Carolina is represented with a couple of schools. Wake lost yesterday in the elimination game. Duke got through, as we know, and they'll be hosting against Murray State, but North Carolina beat Oklahoma 14-4. And so the Tar Heels will advance to host a Super in Chapel Hill next weekend. We'll get the breakdown from all of it, plus the participant out of the American, the Roadrunners of UTSA. Thoughts coming ahead from Jonathan Wagner from On3.com, our friend, on the other side.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Are you ready to tackle those yard and garden projects? Come by East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, your local Coyote dealer, and check out their great selection of residential and commercial Coyote tractors. From zero-turn mowers to compact tractors to skid steer loaders, they've got you covered. Some with 0% financing for qualified buyers. Stop by your hometown Coyote dealer, East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, across from the Pitt County Fairgrounds, or online at ectfleet.com. East Carolina Tractor and Fleet. We dig dirt.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
Remember, get the podcast of the show on the IBX Media app or where you get your podcasts.
I listen on my Apple Watch.
Smart speaker.
Listen while you work.
I listen everywhere. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
We're back on the Patrick Johnson Show, and Pilk and I welcome one of our favorite guests this time of year, our great friend Jonathan Wagner from On3.com, and, of course, college baseball expert. So the good news is Wags' ears do not match the color of my shirt today. So for me, Pilk, that's a major accomplishment, because this time last year, I thought Wags was going to die on air. I really thought he was just going to fall over.
Yeah,
he was
Casey
burnt to a crisp.
did not share any of his sunscreen with him, so we're blaming Casey for that one.
Well, I'll blame KC for anything.
I will too.
Yes, I know you will. All right, we got a lot of questions, Wags. Let's start. We'll get to the Pirates, but let's start with sort of the soup du jour, and this is the Kevin O'Sullivan thing. You know, kind of a half-assed effort, legalese kind of statement from him and the athletic director. This guy's got quite the reputation. Obviously, the way he conducted himself was so classless. What are you? In fact, one of the first articles I read this morning was an On3 article from one of your colleagues about it, kind of surmising everything. But when you look at the totality of it, he's going after Mark Scalf and NCAA officials, coastal officials, ECU players. Uh, what is the thought about this and the reaction to this around college baseball?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of, when the first report started to roll out from Brian Bailey on that day, it was kind of like, come on, man. It's like, is it really that big of a deal? You're pushing it back from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And I understand being upset about it because, in a way, it does benefit, in this case, East Carolina. But in the grand scheme of things, an hour is not the reason that Florida won or lost that baseball game. And then once you started hearing, what was really said and what he said to some ECU players, it was like, wow. And that dude he has made some enemies this week, that's for sure. And it's one of those things. Obviously, there's a portion of the Florida fan base that is, oh yeah, he's in the right. He was fully correct in what he was doing, but no, there's no way. Because the way I look at it, Cliff Godwin coaches East Carolina, and Cliff Godwin can get pretty fiery sometimes, whether it's talking with umpires or just defending his team. But he doesn't do it in a way to where you come out of it thinking, man, he's a bad human. And that's how I came out of it with Kevin O'Sullivan. I'm like, that's a bad dude. And that's not how you should be representing a program, leading young men and college athletes. So it was a terrible look. And the apology did not include a direct apology to ECU players, which I think it should have given the circumstances. So I was disappointed by it. It's not a good look for college baseball and not a good look for Florida at all.
Do you think that he will have any repercussions? I mean, any genuine repercussions? Or, I mean, as I said on the show yesterday, when Pilk and I were talking about it, I mean, this is Florida. This is the same, group that has let a lot of things kind of go by and have let programs allegedly be tampered with from coaches. I know there was an SEC school, perhaps one that we're talking about, that ECU once upon a time let the NCAA know, hey, they're tampering with our football players. They seem to let a lot slide down there in the Sunshine State. But any repercussions for this guy or no?
At this point, I'm not sure. I feel like if a serious punishment would have been handed down, like what does that look like? Is it a game next year? Is it a series next year? I feel like that probably would have come out today or will come out today. So if we haven't heard it by now, I think every hour I kind of lose hope of that happening. But I think it'd be kind of nice for that to happen, just to show, like, okay, we like Scott Strickland, their AD, like, I actually don't condone this. But he can put out a statement all he wants, but in the end, it comes down to action and what you actually do to fix it. And I'm not confident in them doing anything to actually do that.
Yeah. So let's talk about the field and get into the regional. It is 5 ACC teams advancing through. We know one of them certainly will not advance through because it's Miami and Louisville, but you have Duke will be at home at that Little League park they play in. That might actually be gracious to call it that. Against Murray State. The Heels will be bringing Arizona in, and the other one's Florida State, having to travel all the way across the country. So at least for now, should the chant be ACC rather than SEC?
Yeah, I mean, and look, I'll fully admit I was a little surprised by how this weekend went, just because the talk all season long was SEC, like you said. But in the ACC, to me, it was weird. The teams at the top were good, but was there really one great team throughout the regular season? And, North Carolina was up there, Florida State was up there. But, coming out of it, it was like, wow, okay, maybe I think people were sleeping on the ACC a little bit this year. And now, I mean, I think the favorite to win it all is in the ACC in my eyes, and that's North Carolina. And, yeah, I mean, Miami and Louisville, those are two teams that not many at all were predicting to potentially be playing for a shot in Omaha. But here we are. And obviously Duke's going to have a good shot too. So you're probably going to have 3-4 teams from the ACC playing in the College World Series next week. So, or 2 weekends from now, I guess. But but yeah, it's the ACC is good, and it continues to prove it time and time again that they're right there at the top of college baseball, and they deserve just as much recognition as the SEC does.
The top of the order, maybe until yesterday, kind of struggled against, or in the regional series. They win 14-4 over Oklahoma. They've got some explosion in their bats and their depth of pitching, even with the local kid, Mateus, hurt and not available for the rest of the year. Their depth of pitching is pretty good, at least starting pitching. It's probably as good as any in the country. So, I mean, if you had to sit here right now and handicap it, would you say the Tar Heels are the team that will be hoisting the trophy most likely?
Yeah, to me, I think it comes down to North Carolina and Arkansas because to me, they have the two deepest pitching staffs, at least in terms of starting depth, like you said. But, you know, the Heels, they look good. Like you said, their lineup is deep, 1 through 9. They can threaten you. Their pitching is great, even without Mateus. They have a loaded crop of freshmen in that have made an impact this year. So, and obviously Jake Knapp is back, and it looks like he hasn't missed a beat after missing last season. So that team is legit, and I would say that either North Carolina or Arkansas, depending on how this weekend goes, would definitely be my top 2 favorites.
You know, Wags, we were sitting here after the first weekend of the NCAA basketball tournament talking about chalk, talking about how the portal is hurting the smaller teams and how the Blue Bloods will continue to be Blue Bloods. And we had all 4 ones in the Final Four. So I got a 2-parter for you. First, have the wrongs been righted because we've finally Oklahoma's not playing in the championship in softball, as well as baseball is not going to be all SEC and ACC because UCLA or UTSA will be in. You're having a lot of non-host win. And also is maybe what it's hurting in basketball. Is it helping in baseball, or is this year just kind of an anomaly?
Yeah, I think, it's a loaded question, but I think baseball is such a weird sport. I'll start with that. And it's one of those sport where you can have this year we didn't have that one dominant team where you thought, okay, that's your national champion. It's them against everyone else. But so I think that's part of it for this year, and that's a big part of it. But outside of that, I mean, yeah, it's just all these SEC teams, they usually have all those guys. Even their starting 9, they probably have a second starting 9 on their bench that's ready to go in. And I do think it has evened it out a little bit. At the same time, some of those smaller schools, like a Murray State, if they have a guy, say Murray State makes it to Omaha and they have a key cog in the middle of their lineup that goes and just tears the cover off the ball, he's probably going to get some calls from some of these teams that he's playing against. So it's kind of a double-edged sword in that regard. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It's a weird year for sure. And I do think that not having that one favorite is a part of it. But the transfer portal, it has changed things. And I think we're a few years away from seeing how it really has fully changed things on a national landscape and top to bottom consistently. But it definitely has played a role, and we're far from being done with that as well.
There's some, I would say, there's always, it seems like these super regional matchups come down to juggernaut ACC or SEC against conference foe or across the other conference. There is some parity. We talk about UTSA, talk about UCLA, Arizona. Who in this kind of is the sexy matchup, but not sexy from the outside of, well, it's a juggernaut, SEC team against another juggernaut team. Is there kind of a fun matchup that people should be looking at just due to maybe teams they don't know about as much if you're just a casual college baseball fan?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Florida State and Oregon State, to me, I think is the matchup of the weekend. And I think that's two teams that aren't necessarily viewed this season as your top dogs. But both teams are very fun. They have enough arms, top-end arms, and they have enough bats in their lineup to where either team could win that in 2, either team could win that in 3, and either team could go on a run in Omaha if they get there. So I'm very excited for that one in Corvallis. And, Auburn, Coastal Carolina as well. I think that's a fun one. I think Coastal Carolina is a team that's capable of winning it all this year. So, yeah, it's a fun group. But like you said, it is wide open. And it feels like, all these matchups, yeah, there are some 4 seeds, some 3 seeds in there. But a lot of good matchups. But all of them really, I think, brings at least some level of intrigue as well.
Jonathan Wagner on 3.com joining us on the Patrick Johnson Show today. Anyway, I wanted to find out from you a little bit about when you look at UTSA and just kind of what Pat Hallmark's team did. Obviously, knocking off the number one team for much of the season, but also a team that obviously you beat them on their home field. We saw UTSA here in Greenville. They have a lot of confidence. Let's just say, is this team good enough to get to Omaha?
Well, coming into the weekend, I thought there was no chance they would beat Texas, and they proved me wrong. And coming out of that series that we saw against East Carolina, I was kind of like, okay, that's a good team. That's a really good team, but is that a team that I think is gonna go on a run like this? The answer probably would have been no at that time. But I think one of the most interesting comments from this whole weekend was Hallmark after the game saying that talking about transfers, going back to our earlier conversation, and he said, we are here because the guys who transferred out of UTSA transferred out. He's saying we are here because they left. So he embraces it, and that's the other side of the portal landscape. It's some of these smaller guys are going to lose some of their top players every year. That's just how it is. It's going to happen. They're going to get outbid, and that's reality. But a team like UTSA embracing that and just going and finding the next guy is the next step in that whole process. So UTSA is good. They're pesky, and they are very confident. And confidence this time of year is dangerous. So am I going to predict them to win? Man, I don't know. UCLA, they can be UCLA, but that's a long trip too. But again, I didn't think they would beat Texas. So prove me wrong again. I'd probably pick UCLA, but I would not be surprised at all right now if they made it to Omaha.
Do the Duke Blue Devils break through and finally get Chris Pollard to Omaha?
I would say absolutely, but I also would have told you there's absolutely no chance that Murray State beats Ole Miss. So they're hot at the right time. That's a good Duke team as well.
Yeah, let's talk the Pirate season here really quick. Obviously, what they did in knocking off Florida, very impressive. Got a favorable matchup. The game Sunday might have been one of the best college baseball games played this season. And it's one of those deals you kind of hate that somebody had to lose. When you look at this team, I think it's safe to assume there are going to be drastic moves with the roster for a variety of reasons. And I also think it will be, can you get the two frontline guys if they're coming? I mean, in other words, can you get everybody healthy? Will the guys who are young guys that played take the step forward? And to me, if you can capture somehow what you did the last couple weeks and take that into next season, again, I think Pirate baseball will be back where a lot of us anticipate it'll be.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to keep an even head kind of when thinking about this because I don't want to forget about the struggles during the regular season, but I also don't want to completely discount what happened the last 2 weeks because it matters. And when your backs are against the wall, that's when you find out the most about players. And we found out a lot. Austin Irby stepped up and played exceptionally well. Alex Peltier is a guy who you might not look at and say, oh, yeah, I need him as my center fielder next year. But this weekend showed you that if he is, you're feeling a lot better than you were a month ago. So they do have some holes to fill. You have 12 guys at the start of this recording that were in the portal from ECU, 12 or 13, I can't remember actually. But so you've had a lot of guys, but it's a lot of guys that didn't play all that much or didn't have a big role for the most part. But they do have a strong core. It's just now you got to keep it together. And I think you need to supplement that. You have some JUCO guys coming in that are going to play some big roles next year, I think. So you got to supplement it with the portal, find a few pieces, but really it's just about player retention right now, and that's the most important thing.
I want to go back on one more thing that Pilk asked you because this would just be my 2 cents to the question of, basketball seemed very well. Not even seem it was very chalky this year. I do think this may be the last year of such an anomaly. In some ways, this is mirroring the basketball season before last, where there was enough talent still spread around with people moving. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with expanded rosters and rev share and how that will impact a lot of things. But I think we all feel pretty confident that the SEC will continue to to pay top dollar to try to attract talent if they are in the portal and they feel like that they have a shot at getting them, no matter where they go to school or were at school previously. So to me, and you guys can obviously discuss, I think this is the perhaps last we'll see of that. Who knows, though? I mean, baseball is such a wonky deal, but there's a lot of factors that have to kind of come together to have a special season. And as you said, the confidence thing that UTSA has and the good vibes that Murray State have right now, I mean, those are things that obviously, you can't, when you look at a roster on paper, can't predict. But to me, I think this is just maybe the last year we'll see this. It will start to get more, and I hope not, because the fun part about all this is, no one expected a UCLA or a Duke or whoever to be hosting, or even Duke to kind of get out of that Athens regional. I do think it's pretty enjoyable and pretty fun. All right, Pilk, you got anything else for Wags before we get him to give a prediction here?
No, not necessarily, but just kind of what you were saying there, Patrick. I think, unfortunately, you're probably right. But I do want to ask you guys both kind of how I led it with Wags, and I think because I'm such a loaded question, you forgot to hit on it. Has this righted the wrongs of March, in your guys' opinions?
No.
Personally. I know nationally it hasn't because that's a moneymaker, and this isn't. But personally, for guys who watch
Well, I mean, I think look, enjoy this because this might be it.
Yeah.
And that's what I was maybe trying to say.
No, yeah, and I did get that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, enjoy this because this may be it. All right, Wags, we ran out of time last week. I didn't realize there was this many teams in this damn thing. All right, so let's get Wags to give us his. All right, next week, who are the 8 that are in?
All right, I'm going to go through it. I think that Louisville is going to beat Miami. I think Florida State is going to beat Oregon State. Again, great series. I think North Carolina is going to handle Arizona, and I think Coastal Carolina is going to take down Auburn. And on the other side of the bracket, I think Arkansas and Tennessee, I'm really excited for that one too, but I like Arkansas just because of their starting pitching depth. Tennessee has the best starter, but Arkansas has the better depth. LSU, West Virginia, another one. I could see an upset, but I'm going to go with LSU in a tight one. And then Duke and Murray State, I'm going to go with Duke, UCLA and UTSA. And I know I said earlier maybe I wouldn't predict UTSA, but I'm going to go against it right now. I just have the feeling in my gut that UTSA is going to break through.
The American through to Omaha. There you go. For better or for worse, it's UTSA. But, hey, as long as the American would get there, I guess. All right, there he is, the great Jonathan Wagner. Wags, you're the best, buddy. SPF on the ears when you go out. And we'll maybe Pilk, we'll check in with Wags next week. Can you do this again next week one day, Wags, as we get ready?
Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it.
All right, Pilk will get Pilk to work it out and have Wags handicap the whole damn thing for us. All right, thank you, Wags.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Thanks to Jonathan Wagner. Before we go to Pilk, I was remiss in not mentioning something early today, but yesterday, the one-time chancellor of East Carolina University, was chancellor when I was there. He was the chancellor from 87 to 2001. Dick Aiken has passed away at the age of 86. Aiken, a major legacy at ECU, and after retiring from the chancellorship, served in various capacities at the university as well. Always a very affable fellow, really nice guy, and was, again, the chancellor for 14 years. His name's on my degree, so that's a pretty cool thing. But again, our condolences and thoughts and prayers to the family and many, many friends of Dick Aiken, who has passed away. Did yesterday at the age of 86 to Dr. Aiken. All right, let's go now to Pilk. He's got a Sports Flash update and Pirate report for you here on the PJ Show.
Thank you, P-Man. Starting in Pirate Athletics, a handful of Pirate players have entered the portal, most notably Lance Williams and Ian White. They joined a slew of others, including, of course, Keenan Bowman, who left the team just about a month ago. Last night, Texas Tech walked off Oklahoma to make it to their first ever Women's College World Series final, which will begin tomorrow night at 8. The Red Raiders will be taking on the Texas Longhorns. Neither team has ever won it all. Texas has made it to the final 2 out of the last 3 years, falling both those times, of course, to the Oklahoma Sooners, who had won each of the last 4 years before falling to the Red Raiders last night. The Knicks have fired Tom Thibodeau after 5 seasons. He took them to the Eastern Conference Finals and 5 games into it this past season, but has been let go by the team earlier today. Over to the French Open now in tennis. It was J.H. Rose alum Tommy Paul falling in straight sets to the number 2 player in the world and the favorite in the French Open, Carlos Alcaraz. Also earlier today, Francis Tiafoe lost to Lorenzo Musetti. That means there are no American men left. There are a pair of American women left, though. They'll do battle tomorrow at 5 a.m. when Coco Gauff takes on Madison Keys. Winner of that will head to the semifinals on the ladies' side. That will do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. We're going to take a timeout here on the Patrick Johnson Show and be back with more on the other side.
Hey, it's Jim Wells again with Wells Roofing and Gutters here in the beautiful community of Lindale, Bedford. At Wells Roofing and Gutters, we believe in quality first, and that's why we use CertainTeed shingles, which are manufactured in Oxford, North Carolina, a local company. In the event you ever do have a claim or a problem with your roof system, they're local and they come and take care of us in a timely manner. We could leave off some accessories and we could certainly save money, but we believe at Wells Roofing and Gutters in installing the correct way per manufacturer requirements, and we warranty your roof both in-house and also with our supplier, who is CertainTeed. For a job Wells done, no shortcuts taken, and a good quality job on your home, give us a call today, 252-227-8403. We also offer financing, 12 months, no interest, no payments.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Back to the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back. We got a jam-packed show, so let's get started.
Deep breath. Here we go.
You ever watch the Celtics thing? Did you ever watch that Max did?
No, I haven't got around to it yet. Usually I watch all those documentaries like over the summer, once everything kind of winds down. There's so much going on.
The first 7 episodes, 6-7 episodes were really intriguing to me. I was less intrigued by the most recent Celtic titles. It was hard to get. I watched, but it was just hard to get connected. You know, the Celtics were a favorite team, and then the Hornets, but that ship long sailed.
It was
growing up.
Was it kind of like the the 30 for 30, the best of enemies or whatever between the Celtics and the
No,
Lakers?
because there's no. It's extremely a Celtics only vehicle.
No, I'm just saying remember the first 2 episodes were really good, and by the time they got to like the Kobe against Kevin Garnett, it just wasn't as it didn't live up to like McHale punching guys going up for layups. It was just
right.
Like,
well,
again, they played each other in the finals twice. Cool, but it wasn't really a rivalry in 08 and 2010.
I mean, it was interesting, but the last 2 episodes were not as intriguing as the first 6 or 7. And Bill Simmons produced it. There was a tone of, the racial unrest that's kind of always existed in Boston as an undercurrent, but it wasn't, to me, it didn't hit you over the head. I found it more interesting and educational than, trying to make a political statement. It was a whole very interesting, it's pretty thorough.
Yeah.
And Bill Simmons was involved. Now, there's certain characters when I hear their name in the realm of sports that I already know I'm probably not going to be interested in what they are putting out. But this was pretty interesting, and I didn't know Simmons was involved, even though he was in some of the episodes. He wasn't involved. I didn't know at the time he was involved until I got into it that he was involved as a producer. He has come out on his podcast, I guess, and said that he is worried that ESPN, who he, of course, used to work for, is going to screw up inside the NBA. It moves to inside the NBA. Now, I'm a little confused about this because, there was this big send-off with TNT and all of that, and I understand with the game production because the games will no longer be there. But they're still going to be doing as I understand it, as I've been able to read between the lines and understand it, the Charles Barkley interview on the Dan Patrick show on this station yesterday, they're going to still be producing it out of Atlanta with the core of the Turner people that they work with being aboard on the show. So I think you're just changing your distributor, essentially, right? I mean, is that how you understand it, or have you even bothered to put this much thought into it?
No, that's kind of what I've taken, because when they say it's a lot of behind the scenes, the same people, that lets you know the production side will be the same. Now, the one thing you do have to remember is Paramount and CBS or Warner Brothers or whoever's technically in charge down there, this whole TNT operation, doesn't seem to Max, okay? Doesn't seem to meddle as much in content as other people.
Worldwide leader.
The Mickey Mouse,
right.
Yes. So that's what I'm worried about. I think that's his point. It would just be the same as saying, hey, I was coaching for the Kansas City Chiefs where the Hunts keep to themselves, and now I'm coaching for the Dallas Cowboys. And, I still got the same assistants, still got the same quarterback, but I got Jerry Jones. That's how I'm reading this.
So Simmons says he thinks ESPN is going to F the show up. Now, what he says, unless they completely change how they do commercials, the show is going to be different and people are going to be PO'd. And Barkley and those guys are going to be PO'd. And they will go, and they're going to go, and it will go badly, is what he says. So he thinks it's because the short segments that the network uses on its other shows, it'll be a bad fit for the Inside the NBA. I think they'll be, and I can understand the formatics of that. I think they will be better served, though, to let the Inside the NBA be Inside the NBA, don't you?
I think so, because when those guys get going, man, those guys are the best.
That's what.
And
that's
they
what
do
sells
such a great
the show.
job with March Madness. I mean, I look forward to the Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley rivalry every year in March Madness. That's almost more fun than the game sometimes, those going at each other. But you can't, when they start going at it, you can't have somebody in their ear going, take a break, take a break, take a break.
The only thing I don't like about the March Madness with Kenny on it, same thing. Kenny's the weak link in the whole thing.
Well, it's Carolina.
Shaq is a great, but Kenny's not as Kenny. A lot is if Kenny were as if you could buy Kenny for what he thinks he's worth, it would cost you $1 gazillion. Kenny's got a high opinion of himself, and Kenny is not that bright a guy. Not saying he's an idiot, but he's not a savant like he would have you believe. Chuck is great, and Chuck is Chuck. He knows his role. Shaq plays a great kind of second banana comedy bit, straight man. But and then Ernie Johnson's Ernie Johnson. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm kind of curious. The they're going to go with Tirico and Iron Eagles kid. I'm a little surprised nobody from NBC or even ESPN would not make a run at Kevin Harlan.
Yeah.
Because he's done the NBA and he's fantastic. You know, he'll stay with he'll still, I would assume, stay with CBS and do football and college basketball and do the NCAA tournament.
I wonder if that's part of it. Maybe they are going after him, and he goes, "You guys can't offer me an NFL deal because you're not obviously firing Joe Buck," kind of thing.
Sure. Well, the idea would be you bring him aboard to do your NBA coverage when it's not
I get
football
that,
season.
but what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
like, if CBS said, "Well, if you leave,
Well, you know,
you're
they have
gone."
they have some Monday Night Football doubleheaders. I mean,
They
you
do.
could do that and
Oh,
craft him
my
in the deal.
goodness. Don't they? There's like 4 of them this year. They're all like, it's
I
not even
know.
the overlap like last year. They're playing games at 10 o'clock. Who scheduled this
See, I
crap?
think that makes sense.
You're
it's
in
the
bed
East
by
Coast, West
7
Coast.
either way, so you
Doesn't
don't watch
matter.
any Monday Night Football. But for those of us
Correct.
who will stay up till midnight, we don't stay up till 1:30. I'll do it, but
You'll
I
stay up
don't
to
have
1:30. You will.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, you'll stay up to 1:30. All right. I'll get a break. We'll come back, set up the show for tomorrow, and get you ready for the PJ Show Wednesday edition right after this timeout. Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game, the IBX media app, 94.3thegame.com.
Your roof is a vital part of protecting your home and family from dangerous storms and hurricanes. At Assist Roofing, we install and maintain metal roofing that provides precise protection. Add value to your home while lowering utility costs with a fortified roof to last a lifetime. With 0% financing, grants, and Energy Star Green Roofing tax credit available. Call us to schedule a free consultation so you can weather any storm with confidence.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
If you are interested in living longer and living stronger, Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine is accepting new patients for a limited time. Finding a caring physician can be a challenge. Dr. Billy Smith is board certified in physical medicine and lifestyle medicine and has been practicing in the area for many years. Call for an appointment now to Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine, 252-364-1108 in Greenville. That number again is 252-364-1108.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
The stunning conclusion. Why is everyone screaming? On 94.3 The Game.
All right, we're wrapping things up here on the Patrick Johnson Show on this Tuesday. Good show today. Good to have Wags on. You boys are headed in a couple weeks on a little field trip, aren't you? You're not going to go see the Nationals play my Cubbies? They're playing in Washington right now. It always seems like the Cubs are playing there early in the year, and they do it midweek, and I'm never able to get up to Washington to watch the Cubby Bears play. I don't understand. That's one of the quirks of the balanced schedule, or the unbalanced schedule, I guess.
I guess so.
But they're always there at an odd time. They're always there and in Atlanta at odd times. Either there in the football season when we can't get away really, or they're there in the middle of the week this time of year, and it's just poor planning on my part.
Well, the problem is, I guess July, you don't lose any weekend series. You only lose a midweek with the All-Star break. Yeah, but I know, I feel the same way with the Red Sox. We've gotten a few times where Dom and I have been able to go to Baltimore, I guess. But Nationals, like this year, they're there, but it's like July 4th, like the actual day of July 4th.
You don't want to be in Washington, D.C. on July 4th.
Well, I don't. And then, we could go, I guess, like Sunday morning, the 6th, but Dom and I are both going out of town Saturday for our respective family vacations.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Right. You two have big things planned. Two
we do.
ballers.
I don't even know what his plans are. I got to ask him. I just know he's out of town.
So, couple things. A week from today, we will be at King Mackerel's down at the beach for the Big Rock. Our only appearance there this year will be at King Mackerel's. So that'll be a week from today. Yes, it is.
Ooh, I need to find a way down to that one.
You need to come down with me, and we need to get somebody like Dom to produce. Tomorrow, it'll be Brian Mole, Canadian Open. We'll get an early primer on the U.S. Open, and then Faith Kane, ESPN, college softball analyst, will preview the softball championship series. Plus, whatever is going on around the Pirate Nation and beyond, we'll have it for you. See you in the morning on Talk of the Town, and then back here, 5 o'clock for the Patrick Johnson Show, a fresh edition. Thanks to Pilk, thanks to Wags, and we'll see you tomorrow.